All right, today we're going to do weekly challenge number 5. What is this challenge? Essentially, what they have is they've got like this list of, I guess, user IDs and like kind of what level they're under. I think the intent, the spirit of the problem is basically you can input in an employee ID. If you look at the little picture here, you input in an employee ID and it'll tell you what level that they fall under. I think the details of kind of how they executed this is kind of confusing, but that's the gist of it. They have this directory of user IDs and what level that they kind of fall under, and they want you to make an application where you can put in that number and then have it return the results that kind of look like this. So this is kind of your search term, and then this will return back all the levels that they exist in. So what I mean by this is for whatever this person is, 3333, it'll bring back the fact that he's a level 3 person, a level 2 person, as well as a level 1 person, okay? So that is what weekly challenge number 5 is trying to get you to do. It wants you to create an application that allows you to put in an employee data value and bring back his positional hierarchy, okay? So, with that said, let's get to it. First off is how do we get these values? There's a few ways you can do it. Well, all the values are here. This is like the database, the universe of their employees. So first we need to do is we got to get a unique set of all these values. So the way you do that is if you want uniqueness, you always use the summarize tool. So we're going to do this for every single row, okay? So we're going to do this for every single row, and then we're going to ultimately join it so that we have one master list of unique values, okay? So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna say for level 1, just group it by unique values, and we're gonna run it. All right. When you run it, you see that the output is, hey, look, the only unique value in this file that you just told me to do in level 0 is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's correct. And we just copy that for 1, 2, and 3 as well. So let's do that again. Summarize here. Oh, wait, I'm gonna just do it here so it's easy to grab. Okay. I want to group it. We're going to group it. Okay, so bring this down here. I'm gonna just line it just for my OCD. Distribute, we run it. You will see that the unique values for every single level of authority is now here, okay? So now we gotta join it all together because remember, what I'm doing here is I need to first create this master list for people to select from. Um, Taking a step back, okay, how do people put in values? I guess within the context of this situation, I guess you could give them a list of things that they can manually put in. But I like to do, I like to hold the data true to what's available to it. So similar to this picture, I'm going to do a drop down. Okay. So and to that drop down, you need to populate with some values, and those values I'm going to use from the body of the data, which is what we're doing here, which is we're going to identify all the unique values because there's no need for you to like see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20 times here on your list. You just need to see it once. Um, I'm going to identify all the unique values and then just kind of dedupe it to make sure that they truly are unique. So I'm going to union it all together. All right. And so if I look at the results, 22 records. What? Oh, oops. Small hiccup. If you want to union things, if it's not the same, union is dumb. So it will just stack things on top of each other. So if you want to make one column of all these things sitting on top of each other, you have to give it the same name. So in this case, I'm going to call it unique. And I'm going to do it here for a second. The reason why I'm writing this here and copying it here is because Alteryx is stupid. When you try to copy within this field, it will copy all this other stuff that's not relevant. So if you ever tried it, you'll know what I'm talking about. So now that they all have the same number, when you stack it, they recognize that field and they just put it all in the same ones. So next is I need to get only the unique values. So I'm trying to see here. It looks like they're all unique to begin with, but regardless, I'm going to put it through the right transformations. So first, I'm going to get rid of null values. They're not necessary for me. You can either do a filter or you can do the built-in tool data cleansing tool. I'm going to say, hey, remove null rows. Okay, so I'll do that. Output now has no null rows, and then I'm going to do unique just to double check. So in theory, there should be nothing there. Oh, no, I was wrong. There was 3s. I guess I kind of just spaced out. I didn't notice there's 3s. Oh yeah, I mean, they're right there. Okay, so there's that. So now that we have a master list of the unique values, we need to now create a drop-down list. How do you create a drop-down list? Anything that has to do with applications has to use the interface tool. Where do you access the interface tool? It's up in your ribbon. If you don't see the ribbon, or if you don't see the tab up here, go to the add and remove tools and add it in manually. So interface here, do it there, interface. Interface takes two actions, or it usually takes the form of two things, an action and also a condition. So first I'm gonna do an action. Oh, no. I am skipping ahead. Okay, so I have to actually take a little pause here. Here's our master list, but now I need to prep the other data flows to take in the master list, okay? So first and foremost, let's go back to the idea of this problem. You have a database that you ultimately want to filter down to the rows that are relevant to you, okay? So we have this master database and we only are concerned with sum. That is obviously a filter move, so we're going to add a filter to that. The problem is, how do you know what's in what, right? Like if the filter's here, like how do you make it all equal your value? You just go to the custom filter and you just add that logic in. So for now, I'm just gonna put an arbitrary number. So 3 through 3 through 3. I think they're all in multiples of 5. 3 through 3 is 5. I mean, here's 6. I'm putting in 3. It doesn't matter. It's all arbitrary. I just need a value there as a placeholder. Okay. So level 0, 3, 3. So basically, I'm going to write this logic that says, hey, look, scan 0, 1, 2, or 3 for this value. Okay, so it's level 1 equals this number, or, which is 2 pipes, or level 1 equals, and then I don't want to type all that always, so I'm going to just keep doing this. Delete that for now. Okay, pipe it, level 2, pipe it, level 3. Go. Okay, so now my criteria is set, and let's run it just to test proof of concept. So if you were to theoretically put in a value of 3333, it should pop out these values. And if you look at their solution, they're the same ones, okay? Now the added thing is they also want a record of what position you looked for. So we will add that in as well. We've got the solution here. We just need to add on some extra fat. So how do you do that? Once again, it kind of has to do with your knowledge of interface. So just bear with me here. So here's the answer, here's the input. Now we just need kind of like a final output, okay? So a few ways to do this. Ultimately, you're gonna have to use a text input tool. You could use the existing ones if you'd like, but I'm just gonna put a new text input tool. The reason I'm doing that is because I have here my solution and I need to add a new column here. I guess I could use a formula tool, but once again, this goes to the art of workflow design. I'm going to use a text input tool in this case. And because I'm going to do kind of like dynamic logic using the interface, I need a placeholder. So first off, I know that my new column is going to be called position number, so I'm going to call it that. So new table, position number, and then I'm going to just put a value here. This word is just a placeholder, okay? And then whatever that is, I'm going to join it, or I'm going to append it, because this is not quite a join. I just want that number on for everything I search, so it's actually going to be an append. So the target is this finalized database, and the source of the appended will be from here. And so there you go. I'm going to just shuffle it up there so that it looks the same, and yada yada yada. So ultimately, your table should look like whatever value you put here and your solution, okay? So once again, these are all placeholders, so this might not look like the right thing, but it will be. Just keep holding on. So the next thing you need to do is you gotta bring in this interactive element of the solution. How do you do that? Interface tools, like I talked about earlier. Once again, you always need two things going on, action and a condition. So first thing is, let's make this Dropbox. Dropbox is here, okay. You know what, I'm gonna, okay, so there's a few things to consider here, okay. So we're gonna need so let's look at this. What is this Dropbox? What is it ultimately doing? This Dropbox will be, 1, populating all the values that you need, and 2, this value is gonna push into your search criteria. In this case, underneath all the guts, it's going to push it into the filter. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, take this Dropbox, and then based on this condition, I want you to act on this filter. So they're all tied together now. Okay. I'm going to try to spread this out so it's a little bit more clear. And I'm going to, you know what? I'm going to put this in a box itself. And there's a separate kind of thing going on. Add this to a container. Okay. So what I'm going to say is, hey, look, I have this filter. I'm going to go into the update value, and I'm going to say, in this expression, I want you to replace a specific string, specifically 333. This is what I meant by placeholder. Like it's not important to me what this number is as I'm building it, because I know this is going to be an interactive experience. And more importantly, I'm just going to replace this value anyways. Like this truly is a placeholder. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, hey, based on whatever the user selects in the dropdown, replace 333 with that value. Okay. Which is the intended purpose of this. You're going to select something and it's going to replace it and it's going to search for it. All right. So there's that. The other thing is though, if you only do that, you're not going to get the full value, which is this final table of your search things. So similar to this, we're just going to add another action thing that replaces the value with whatever they select. So do this. And because they're different tools that the action is acting upon, you can't double dip on that one. So you have to create a new action tool, connect to that one, and say, hey, update the cell, update cell in the first row under the value column, that whatever that value is. Okay. So we connect this one because this dropdown will trigger both actions that are, it's intended for both actions. So we'll do that. Okay. And what you're going to see is whatever you select here, it's going to tell it to filter off that one, and also it's going to replace it here. And so for the intended effect, you'll get the table that you want. Okay. If you run it now, nothing's going to happen because these are interface actions. You're going to have to do an app demo for you to truly see how that works. Okay. So last step now is, now that you got a drop down, if you click here to implement the application, now you need the values. As you see here, there's nothing here yet right now. So how do we get the values in there? Well, here are all the values. We just shove it in there. Because of the intricacies of the dropdown tool, you can't quite do it like this way. It just won't recognize it. What it'll do is it'll recognize the word unique. So you see here, unique, but that's all. And that means nothing. Like the word unique means nothing to the database. We need the values. So the little intricacies and nuances of creating a dropdown will be, the dropdown works as in, if you want to take values from a connected tool, it has to be field values. It's not so much the content of it, it's the header. So the trick to doing this is, what we're going to do is we're going to do a transpose. We're going to do a crosstab, but we'll kind of trick it. So we're going to do a summarize tool here. All right. We're going to summarize unique twice. Okay. Run it. Okay. So there's two rows for unique. All right. And the reason why we do this is because we want to crosstab it, and you need some value in that field. You can't just do it by itself. Okay. So we're going to do that. We're going to do unique by unique, and we want to do it by the first value. And this is important because anything else will add a header that we don't want. And we're going to run it again. Okay. And what we're going to see now is, so what started off as these two, now we got the headers that we wanted. So it's renamed it so that it's all the headers. And this is important because these are the values that we want to put into the dropdown. Okay. So we do, so that now that we have these as field values with these dummy like field values, now we can put it here. I mean, in theory, this could be anything. Like whatever's in the body of it does not matter. It's really the header, because that's how it reads it. It only reads in field headers. So that's kind of why we did this little trick. We just filled this with junk. I mean, this could be, for all intent purposes, it could have been like just 11111. So, but now that we have this, now we can really utilize the drop-down input method of, hey, just take whatever coming in, the fields from the coming in connected tool, and use that as our options. And if you do it that way, what you'll see is if you run the app demo, now you have all these selections. Okay. And then now for the final step, which is an output file. So just gonna output. We'll do an Excel file, of course, result. Okay. And then we're going to replace it every time. Run it so that the file is there. and then run the application. So if you run the application, I only want things with 23555. What you'll see is the results. You open it, and voila, you have the position, and then also all the places where this person exists, level 2 mainly.